Well, in this week's briefing, I'm joined by the Minister for Health and Social Care. And smoking is back on the agenda again. But you're going to stop people smoking in cars with children. But this is just, again, following UK legislation, isn't it?
Not really. We went out for consultation at the end of 2012 to the public and asked their views on what they thought was, should be done going forward on the Tobacco Act of 2006, I think, off the top of my head. Over 400 people responded with their views and what they thought should happen, and we are implementing 4 of those recommendations. Now, we've got together a draft act, and we're going out for further consultation to allow the public to go through the act, and then if we unless we get a massive uproar over it, then we will be going to Tynwald with the amendment.
Are you again just following the UK though? Really, on this legislation?
We're following the feedback from the members of the Manx public.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, as it so happens, that's in tune with what's already happened in the UK.
And I think Jersey are even ahead of that. But where's the big changes? Like the Australian model, which is even the UK is looking at that now, aren't they? To ban any sort of packaging advertising on cigarettes, make them look really unattractive in just brown paper packaging. I mean, would you go there, or would you have to wait for the UK to do that sort of thing?
I think this is a big enough change. We're banning them being on display, so they'll have to be covered. We're trying to stop the younger generation from taking up smoking. And when you go and do your shopping and you go to the counter to pay, you see a big array of cigarettes in front of you. It's sort of putting additional pressure on people to make a purchase. And therefore, if those cigarettes are covered up, we're not saying to you cannot smoke, but we're saying that we're not going to encourage a full display of all these cigarettes and the various brands in front of people when they go to shop. So they'll be there. They'll just be covered up. We're also stopping the sale of them in vending machines, which I think...
Did that still go on?
Very rare cases, but we're making it illegal because, it's open to abuse and you can have minors getting their hands on cigarettes. So I think these changes are necessary. If it's the responsibility of my department, Paul, if we can reduce the number of people dying from lung cancer, that's what we're there to give the people of the Isle of Man as long and healthy life as possible. And dying from lung cancer is not an enjoyable experience. It's something we want the people of the Isle of Man to avoid if at all possible.
And what's your views on the e-cigarettes, these electronic ones? I mean, again, they're available everywhere. There's the shops around town who sell these things.
Personally, I'm opposed to them because they're unregulated, and I'm getting feedback from my public health division, I should say, that some of them have more dangerous cancer-causing chemicals in them than some of the milder cigarettes. So I think when they're properly regulated, then that'll be better. If I know that the cancer-causing toxins aren't in some of these e-cigarettes, then I'll be a much happier person. The other thing that I'm very concerned about, Paul, is that they're putting flavours in these e-cigarettes, and it's a bit like Alco-Pops. I'm, worried about the younger generation thinking it's trendy to smoke these e-cigarettes, and then it leads on to normal smoking.
Let me put this to you though: in a car, an adult with a child can continue to smoke an e-cigarette after everything you just said there. Your worries and concerns. Is that right? I mean, it's only affecting what we call the traditional cigarette, not an e-cigarette.
It's only affecting the traditional cigarette.
And yet you just said, wouldn't that be something that you should look at then? Really say, well, if that's the case, we should really be ahead of the game here. We should ban all cigarettes, be it electronic or the old-fashioned one, and be progressive. Rather just following other people.
That's a personal viewpoint. However, if there was to be a significant number of the public agree with me and brought that in, then I'm sure we would look at it going forward.
Are you not concerned then for that very thing, that people might be putting themselves at danger by you pushing them down the route almost to say, well, I can't now smoke in a car. Oh, but I'll get my electronic one out, and that's just okay because that's not covered by the legislation.
Well, I suppose it's a step at a time. The smoking, the damage from a normal cigarette is considerably worse than the vast majority of the e-cigarettes. So it's prioritising. I think the public will accept a ban on smoking in a car when there's a child about. I might struggle to get the support for the e-cigarette, and who knows, in the future we might be sitting in this chair having a conversation that I've now got the background support, the technological advice that we can ban certain types of e-cigarette.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just putting to you that really it's just easy to follow UK legislation because it's already done there. I mean, we were very slow in bringing in the ban in pubs, for instance, in the Isle of Man, because you know, it was almost thought it couldn't be touched. But once the UK does it, it's easier. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's an easier ride for you just to follow rather than to lead.
You may well argue that, and maybe you're right, but I don't tend to. Yeah, I always look. You know, there's no point reinventing the wheel if it's unnecessary. We are behind with the UK on this one. We're catching up. Equally, I've led the way on the banning of some of the drugs scenario, the legal highs, where we are leading. Where the UK haven't banned some of the legal
How
high
are you leading?
drugs. Well, because
you have to, each one comes forward, then you have to.
Yeah, well, we have implemented bans on MDAI, for example.
Guernsey's made a complete ban last week on everything.
They've made a complete ban on everything, and
isn't that leading the way?
Well, that is leading the way. What you've compared with us with the United Kingdom, and we have.
I'm giving you a better example. Jersey and Guernsey is probably more, you know, in keeping with something there. There's the example. Maybe
yeah, and more than happy to look at that. But we banned legal highs, admittedly individually, but that's something the United Kingdom haven't done. So we did lead the way there. It's maybe that Jersey have caught up with us and now overtaken us on doing the whole of them. But and. You know, we can't constantly reinvent the wheel on everything, but we did lead on that for a while. I'm more than happy to have a word with the Home Affairs Minister to discuss legislation on doing it on a permanent basis for all across the board.